Thank you very much for joining us today, Martina. Perhaps you could just start with a short introduction of yourself and Telness Tech. Be interesting to hear a little bit more.
Yes, I'm Martina, the founder of Telness Group. So we founded both Swedish MVNO, targeting the SMB market in Sweden, and built technology to enable a joyful experience for the Swedish end users, and also to enable actually a true digital telco in the end.
Also, it's interesting that you launched an MVNO specifically for SMBs. That which is not sort of what the woman in the street is used to. We're familiar, I guess, with the Virgin mobiles, but less so the SMBs. Why particularly did you focus on the SMB space?
I think there's many opportunities for MVNOs targeting different niche segments in different markets. In the Swedish market, it had launched a number of MVNOs for consumers, some of them challenger brand launched by the MNOs, that have grown quite successfully and have actually enabled, they're the one gaining market share and enable better experiences in the market. So the theory was that none had yet approached SMB, but they should be mature enough to also be willing to buy online and to have a digital experience. And the time in the market was ready, and the gap in the market was huge. So it's all about timing and when the different segments are mature enough. And the theory was that the SMB was ready in Sweden. That proved to be true.
And since then, you've evolved Telness into Telness Tech, I guess, to help other MVNOs sort of become sleeker, become more nimble, on all of those good things. If you could tell me a little bit about the evolution of Telness Tech.
Yeah, so we had to build a lot more technology than expected from start, to both to enable like a true joyful experience for the end user, but also for it to be a digital, and now we need to cut this, but a digital journey for the end users following through, but also an ultimate experience for the MVNO. Like, we did not want to spend our time and money on manual operations in the back end. We wanted to spend our investment in the growth, and for the team to really put the effort in how to serve our clients in the best way, and how to build the customer base efficiently. So the technology over time enabled us to do so. And now the strategy has been, well, instead of going in with our MVNO in other markets, that could have been the strategy. But we have built quite proprietary tech that we're proud of and enabled a lot for us in the Swedish market. So we decided to, like, how do we make the best impact in the industry? And that was to enable others to use our technology in other markets instead of going in other markets ourselves.
So is that specifically MVNOs in other markets, or do you help MNOs too?
Currently MVNOs, that's what we built our product for. Obviously, in the long run, we do want to serve MNOs also. Now I think there's a huge opportunity only in the MVNO market, and I think they're the one that can disrupt the market and the mature segments of a digital experience. So that's where we're focusing on now.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe you're speaking at a panel at MVNO World Congress on, let me just check the title, Enhancing Your Offering Beyond Connectivity. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the trends you're seeing around, service differentiation and enhancing the customer experience, sort of how, but also how Telness is helping your customers, beyond Sweden, actually enhance what they do.
Yeah, I think sadly the telco industry is not really, how to say it, it's not known for the best customer experiences in the world. But I also think there's a huge opportunity there to differentiate by customer experience alone. I think the end users are getting more picky, and they're getting more aware of what they're buying. And if there are solutions that can enable them with better experiences in the end, I think that's something that will be prioritized. And it's a huge opportunity to differentiate on something else than only price. And I also believe that when you're an MVNO, a big part of a successful strategy is to have a great experience, and that requires a niche segment. So if you're going to build a great experience for real, you need to know your segment, and you can't be for everyone. And that's a great opportunity that MVNOs have that large operators don't, because they need to serve more or less the whole market. But when you're focusing on a specific segment, the opportunity of actually creating a really, really good experience for that segment is much better and an advantage versus the incumbents. So I think that's a great focus for the MVNOs to have. I think our technology, and when we also launched our own MVNO, we really did focus on, okay, so what's our segment? How do we create the best experiences? And designed customer journeys of how to really fulfill that experience in the end. And then we built technology to serve that experience, and not the other way around. And I think that's a mistake from other tech vendors and software providers, that you build technology for technology's sake. And I think that's the advantage that we can enable our customers, that it's really built to serve the clients with a good experience, and both for the end user, but also for the MVNO in the end.
So from a sort of from myself, as a consumer, I guess two sort of points of friction would be actually the original onboarding process, which can be slightly complicated and manual. Yes. And if something goes wrong, it's quite difficult to find out how to fix that. Yeah. But that's one. So is that one of the big challenges in terms of sort of customer journey, customer experience? Is it quite often right at the beginning of the journey where there's an issue?
Yeah, I think there's two parts. I think the big thing here is that the customers do expect the same experience in telco that you do have in other industries per today. So when you onboard yourself for another streaming service or something else, it's quite frictionless. Like, you click a couple of buttons and then it works. And if you do have questions or you want to serve, like 99%, you can actually serve yourself, because it's not that complicated. You go in and you adjust your installation of different sorts. And I think that's the experience you do have from a telco. Also, you do expect to be onboarded in a few clicks. You do expect to be able to serve most of your questions or changes yourself. It shouldn't be that difficult. So traditional vendors today, where you need to call customer support, or where you need to, that's not really 2024. And that's something that, well, obviously we enable to do frictionless. And it's both about the technology enabling a simple offering and automated work streams, but also for those changes to actually go live, and not creating the manual back office, even though you can solve the UX for the customers in the end.
Great. And I just had one more question on that, on the area of sort of service differentiation. I think one of the sort of topics you're going to be discussing on the panel is sort of different types of pricing, I know in the US, I know sort of shared data plans, whether it be sharing data across family members or between devices, has been quite a big thing for many years. But I'm less conscious of that in maybe in the UK or Europe. Is that something that you see there is, customer demand for, and is it something you're trying to enable for your customers?
Yeah, I think for us, when we started, we came from the SMB perspective, right? And that has a lot of complexity to it. I mean, you need to have a hierarchy of a business owner that should be able to administrate all your employees, and you should have one invoice. You should be able to divide the invoices and the costs. You should be able to enable or limit your different employees of roaming services or not to different data plans. You should be able to bundle with a fixed PBX or switch IT services, for example. So it's both about bundling services and invoices, but also the hierarchies and mandates and administration levels. And that's something, I mean, doing something complicated and complex, simple enough to use in self-service, that's been the hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
And it took a few years, but we really are there where we have like self-service is the preferred choice by our customers, not because we force them, but we actually have made it simple enough for them to choose that. And that's something we see a lot of benefits to apply on the consumer segments also, in everything from bundling with other services to family plans, which is pretty much the same thing as a consumer in the consumer segment, where you have a family owner that do you want to have a mutual or gathered invoice for your family, and you do want to maybe limit your children to use the data of a certain hour. You don't want them to pay online, or you don't want them to roam, for example. And it's really the same. It's a lot of those customer journeys that are that can be applied also on consumer that we see. I think just innovation in the space. It's not up to us to create the innovation. That's up to the MVNO to create their space, but the technology shouldn't be the limitation.
Yeah. So you must enable them to be as sort of agile and nimble as possible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And so I believe you're obviously attending Mobile World MVNO World Congress. I'll keep on saying Mobile World Congress in Brussels in June. So what do you look forward to for the event, and what are you seeking to get out of it?
Well, I think it's a very interesting event. I think this is where a lot of innovation happens in the industry. So I'm both looking forward to be inspired of different types of new business ideas or value propositions, etc., in different markets. Obviously, I'm looking forward to meet a lot of colleagues in the industries and partners that we have in different markets. So it's a mix between inspiration and meeting people across countries in different partnerships that we have or will have in the future.
That's good to know. It seems to be quite a close community event, doesn't it? You see the same companies and the same people sort of year in year out, announcing new things, announcing new capabilities like eSIM and lots of eSIM development and things like that. Many thanks for joining me today, Martina, and I look forward to seeing your panel at MVNO World Congress.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.